Hello, and welcome back to your podcast, Ease into Clarity. I'm your host, Dr. Divi, and thank you so much for being here. As you know, this is part three of our holiday podcast series, a series you can use anytime you're triggered, not just over the holidays. So, welcome. As you know, whenever I start these podcasts, we spend a minute just taking a breath. So, go ahead and close your eyes, take a breath. Let that deep belly breath in and a long belly breath out. You can go ahead and close your eyes. And let's just be present in this moment. This simple pause for breath tells your nervous system, I am safe right now. It tells spirit, I am here. I am ready to open my heart. Beautiful. Nice work. And as you may know, whenever I do my podcasts, I also share what's happening in my personal business life. I shared last time, I have a 15-week-old puppy who I adore. His name is JJ Jr. I also have a 20-year-old son who I also adore. My husband and I live together, and we're having a beautiful, beautiful family time over Christmas here in Vancouver, BC, where I live. So the month of December, over in my business side, I have a beautiful, beautiful series coming up December 29th to January 4th. I would love you to join me. It's on the inner temple. You can find some information about it on my website. It's completely free, about 7 days. We'll be hopping on and teaching every day. You have to register for it, though. It's on my website. The other thing I've got going on is January 8th, I have an event here in Vancouver, just an evening, get together, hang out over in Granville Island to release 2025 or 2025 and welcome in 2026. December 17th, I've got a full day event with a bunch of other entrepreneurs, on intuitives over at UBC called A Day of Intuition Healing. If you want to go deeper, I run online containers on entrepreneurship, health, and relationships online. That's like a very deep growth that I've got. And then lastly, I run in-person events. February 7th and 8th are my next events here in Vancouver, a weekend workshop to blast you open. You will feel the pull as to what to do with me. So whether it be the inner temple, group coaching, you will feel it. Just trust that. All right, let's dive in here. We're going to have some fun today. So today we're working on step 6, 7, and 8 of healing relationships. Now, if you missed the first episode, no big deal, but please listen to the second one, okay? Because the second one was really deep. Remember, I'm going to review the first 5 steps. Step 1, be honest with your feelings. If you need to block your mother or father, go ahead. If you need to take a break from your husband, go ahead, go do it. Step 2, start journaling. Journaling gets it out of your nervous system and onto paper, and that in itself is healing. Step 3, step into the observer. Step 4, know that there's something called the ego and spirit, and all my pain is from the ego. We're not denying it. From the observer, we're seeing it and let ourselves feel it. Step 5 was really big where we ended the last podcast, where we talked about that there's a part of the mind that is not holding the story. Got it? That was really big. Hopefully, I had a chance to practice that before we dive into step 6, 7, and 8. Whew, so these are deep dives, and I may lose you, and that's okay if I do. I have a course called the Inner Temple. Like I said, I've got that whole 7 days from the 29th to the 4th. That's completely free. The recordings will be there. It's all on school as well. Step 6 is 5 and 6 are pivotal, and they're life changers and takes a while. And notice that as I share this, it just goes right over your head. You're like, okay, I kind of get it, but I need more. That's where the deep dive of the inner temple comes in, right? Which is a year-long course. Take it a month at a time. I don't care. But it's like, oh, such an amazing offering. It's all about A Course in Miracles and Divine Mother. So what's step 6? Step 6 is called Understanding the Ego, Guilt, and Projection. Divi, what the hell are you talking about? The ego guilt is what the Course in Miracles says is the root wound of the separated mind. The ego guilt is the unconscious belief that you have done something deeply wrong, that you are not enough, that you have failed, you've disappointed someone, or you're responsible for someone else's emotions or happiness. What does that mean? The guilt you're feeling is not your adult guilt, it is childhood guilt that's absorbed, inherited, and internalized. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. If you know they talk about the iceberg when you look at spiritual development, the top part is like conscious stuff, the bottom part is the deeper iceberg. And I want you to know, as I explain this, it took me a while to understand. So it might go in one ear, land a little bit, and go out the other ear. That's normal. The deepest part of the very bottom of the iceberg is unconscious guilt. That unconscious guilt originates from this thought that I am separate from God. So we come from a place of unity, of oneness with our Creator. And then when we come into the human body, the Course in Miracles teaches us that had a crazy thought. What would it be like to be separate from God? And that one little thought was the origin of guilt, which is the origin of all problems. And again, it might take you a while to get, but just be open. Okay, Divi, whatever. The unconscious guilt, kind of get it, kind of don't. The unconscious guilt is because we perceive that we separated from the divine. Now we know, if you're this far into your journey, you're listening to Dr. Divi, we know the divine rests in us, so it doesn't make any sense. But the guilt was the origin, and that is the origin of all of our pain. Okay? The origin of the idea that I'm not enough is only there because you think you're separate from your true source nature, which lies inside of you. The idea that you've done something wrong, which is impossible because your God self is in you. So the ego has this going on deeply. Again, this is a very deep step. Okay. So what does the ego do with the guilt? Guilt does not feel good. We all know that. So what does the ego do? Is it projects it. Projection is this thing that's like, if I can get rid of it, then it's gone, which actually doesn't happen as she gets bigger. So projection goes, okay, I don't like this feeling of not feeling enough. So I'm going to see it in my husband, my mother, my father. And again, I'm going to say this 1,000 times today. For me, when I got this, and I've been working on my mother wound since I was about 17, when I got this, when I started to really deeply dive into A Course in Miracles, it undid everything. And it took me a while. Again, I'll say that over and over again. But it did everything let go. Okay, let go of my fatherhood instantly. So what I did was we project that guilt of separation onto situations, onto family members, onto memories, onto holidays, onto conversations. And we're anticipating how things might go. And this projection of this unconscious guilt is what creates anxiety, it creates dread, it creates shame, it creates defensiveness, it creates people pleasing. It takes over fear of returning to our God self nature. So if you're open to it when you're feeling, anger at your siblings, judging your husband, being mad at your kid, you're actually not reacting in the moment. You're reacting to the memory of guilt that lives in the nervous system. And when you're open to it and see it clearly, everything starts to soften. Step 7. Step 7 is forgiveness in A Course in Miracles sense. Forgiveness is not pretending nothing happened. Forgiveness is not approving of behavior. So forgiveness is not bypassing. Forgiveness is the decision to release the story the ego created. This is a game changer, guys. Forgiveness means you are loosening the attachment to the past. Forgiveness allows you to reclaim your power of your old emotional patterns. With forgiveness, we choose spirit instead of ego. With forgiveness, we see innocence first, and then in ourselves, and then in others. Take a breath with that. Remember last podcast we talked about step 5, I think it was, is that there's a part of my mind that does not hold that story. Forgiveness releases the attachment to the story to open up to the part of my mind that does not have it. And that's pivotal because just being open to that, you let spirit in and then ego tries to grab you back. Forgiveness dissolves guilt. Forgiveness unwinds projection. Forgiveness calms the nervous system. And it returns to who you truly are. It returns to the part of you that was never hurt. The divine self. That's the homecoming of forgiveness. Just breathe into that. Really, really, really good. So again, today we're talking about step 6. Let me back up. I'm getting guided to go back to step 5 from last class. We talked about there's the ego and the spirit. Then there's a part of my mind that was never hurt, which is step 5. Step 6 is owning, okay, there's some unconscious guilt. Okay, whatever. And that unconscious guilt is ego projection. Okay, got it, kind of got it. But there's a part of my mind that believes I'm separate from my God. Because that's unconscious guilt in me, I'm going to put that onto everybody. This is the key. And when I go there, oh God, then I have to just forgive the thought that I'm separate. And that is the game changer. Now, I'm going to tell you before I jump to step 8, Divi took years to move from 5, 6, 7, 8. But the reason I got guided to bring all of this into a podcast was for you to know it's possible. And a lot of times the ego stops us at the observer and can't even go past it. So if you're finding this really deep, just rewind it, listen to it again and again and again. Join me for the inner temple. You're gonna get there. Trust me. Step 8 is integration. Step 8 is rewiring the nervous system and choosing again. In step 8, we take the step where healing becomes embodied. Step 8 is where the emotional, spiritual, and neurological pieces start working together. Step 8 is where the mind, body, and spirit get to align. Step 8 is I choose again. I do this consciously, and I do this daily. This is what integration looks like. And it's not just a one thing I do in the morning, it's every few minutes. If I feel peace, I'm going to choose peace. If I feel fear, I can still choose peace. That's integration. If I feel triggered, I can still be gentle. If my body is aching, I tell myself, I'm not that memory. If the ego is loud, I remind myself, spirit is louder. And the more I practice these 4, again, I'm going to repeat them. When I feel, and I'm going to teach you many, many more in the inner temple. When I feel fear, I can choose peace. When I feel triggered, I simply say, I can still be gentle with myself. When my body hurts, I can say, I am not this memory. When the ego is loud, I can say, the spirit is louder than this. So the more I practice integration, the more the shame loosens from my body. The lie that I did something wrong gets released. The emotional charge starts to soften. The old triggers lose power. And then your nervous system gradually and with time returns to safety. And then your inner child starts to trust you. Again, integration is not ignoring. It means that every time the emotions surface, instead of spiraling into the patterns, I respond with awareness. Remember, just to review, I feel it, I journal, I observe. I see this as the ego, okay? I connect to spirit. I start to know there's a part of my mind that is storyless. I know this is related to guilt. I'm ready to release the guilt because that is separating me from God. I forgive and I choose again. And the more often I repeat this over and over again, that is how we rewire the nervous system. This is how we build new neural pathways. This is how old emotions start to dissolve. And this is how the heart starts to open and become free. Integration is not practice. It's not perfection. It's a practice. It's a daily remembering, moment to moment to moment, who I truly am is the divine self. Take a few breaths. Can you feel the goosebumps? Yeah. Moment to moment to moment. That winds up step 3 of the holiday series. Again, something you can practice any time of the day, anytime you're triggered, birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. And the more you unwind this, join me in the inner temple, the more we're going to make the spirit voice louder and the ego voice softer. Heal the bodies, heal our minds, heal our relationships, heal our bank accounts. So as we wind down, I want to wish each of you a very happy, happy holiday season. Thank you for spending this time with me. And if you're like me, you probably want to spread the word. So let's spread this juicy stuff together. There's 4 steps I would ask of you. Number 1, like this broadcast, like the YouTube, however you're listening to this. Number 2, share it with a friend, even your mother if you have a mother wound. Number 3, subscribe. Number 4, write a review. All 4 of those things increase the algorithms, which helps us to spread this work to the world. I'm sending you so much love, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing holiday season. So much love, and thank you again for joining me. We'll see you next week.